some of your winners here, Rick. Start with maybe a team we didn't expect to hear. The Giants here as your Week 5 winners.
Yeah, just looking at Daniel Jones, and I know Saquon Barkley and what he's done, and Dabble and probably potentially Coach of the Year, but Daniel Jones is a leader of this football team, and I want to recognize that. He's making plays with his arm. He's making plays with his legs. He's got a bad ankle. He's done a tremendous job. His hand's bleeding all over the field, and yet this guy goes out there and continues to perform and puts him in position to win games. And I know in that locker room, when those guys see how gritty this guy is, how tough this guy is becoming a leader not only of this team but this organization. And then you look at my other winners. You go down to Breece Hall. And what Breece Hall did yesterday was incredible. In the first game, they gave him the ball 6 times. In the second, they lost. In the second game, they gave it to him 7 times. And they won by a miracle in Cleveland. Third week, they gave it to him 8 times. They lost. All of a sudden, the last 2 weeks, 17 carries, 18 carries involved in the passing game. This guy needs the ball in his hand because he should be the focal point of the New York Jets. And finally, my winners is San Francisco defense. Everybody's going to talk about Shanahan, Garoppolo, Jimmy G, and how well he's done that offense, and Samuel. But DeMeco Ryans and what he's done with this defense. And you look at last week in the LA Rams. Monday night, they sacked Stafford 7 times. They get a pick 6. They travel on a short week across the country to go play. I know it's the Carolina Panthers, but they played the Carolina Panthers, sacked Mayfield 4 times, had another pick 6. And talking to some people around the league, DeMeco Ryans is going to be a head coach, and it's going to be just a matter of time. He interviewed with some people last year and said he was one of the most impressive interviews they did. But he even said he wasn't ready to be a head coach. After what this defense is doing this year, please take a head coaching job because you can turn a franchise around.
Niners in line to maybe be one of those top defenses. Next to Dallas, by the way. Pete, what about your winners from Week 5?
Well, I mean, look, there's a bunch of them this week, and most of them aren't head coaches, by the way, but I'll start with Gabriel Davis. And there's the one dimension that hadn't been consistently in the Buffalo pass offense the last couple of years. We started to see it late in the season last year. We saw it in the postseason, and now we're seeing it. Gabe Davis, he has the ability to stretch the defense. He has speed. He has big playability, and we saw that on the third play of the game. 98-yard touchdown pass, came back and got another one for 62 yards. It just makes the Buffalo Bills offense that much tougher to defend. Then, of course, the gimmick. I call him the gimmick because that's what he is. He's not a quarterback. He never was a quarterback. But Taysom Hill is one hell of a gimmick. Look what he did on Sunday. I mean, my gosh, he rushed for 112 yards, 9 rushes, 3 touchdowns, caught one for 22 yards. The gimmick worked on Sunday. He's not a quarterback. Don't ever call him a quarterback, please, but he is one hell of a gimmick to have in your offense. And then we'll move on to Austin Eckler. I mean, my gosh, you look at this offense with the Cleveland Browns having struggles on defense, and Eckler comes in and rushes for 173 yards and 2 touchdowns, also caught a touchdown pass. I mean, he rushed for 1 touchdown, caught another one. This guy can do so many different things, and I'll tell you what, if they get their run game going like that, and they don't have to rely on Justin Herbert all the time, they're going to be tough to beat.
By the way, our producer, Tully, wants me to remind everybody that the gimmick that you call in Taysom Hill, he threw the ball to a University of Dayton player, which is, by the way, a basketball school. But just putting it out there because Tully just told me in my ear, so we got to inform the people out there. All right, Rick, what about your losers for Week 5?
Oh, there were plenty of them as well as there were some winners. The first one to me is the Green Bay Packers, and watching that game yesterday, Aaron Rodgers has to know that Devontae Adams is gone. Let's move on in life, okay? So you have the receivers that you have, but their horses on offense are the 2 running backs. You have Jones and you have Dillon. Yet, as Pete just pointed out, you continue to throw the ball near the goal line when you got these 2 big horses. As Pete would say, run the damn ball. Twice Aaron Rodgers gets the ball batted down, game, match, over. But the Giants were giving up 141 yards per game, yet the combined total of carries between these 2 horses, only 19 touches. They're going to win the games when they start doing it. What happened to the Lions offense? Highest scoring offense in the NFL, 0 points up at New England. I know they don't have Swift. I know St. Brown was on a pitch count. I know they don't have Chart. but they figured out a way last week to get Hawkinson involved. Sure. He had 8 catches for 100 and whatever thousand yards and 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion. 1 catch for 6 yards. Just a poor performance. And even a worse performance may be the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. T.J. Watt, J.J. Watt, Pete Prisco Watt, whatever Watt you want to put in there, it wouldn't have mattered yesterday. At halftime, 31 points put on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Josh Allen threw for 348 yards, 4 touchdowns. The game was over by halftime.
All right, of course, offense there and defense headlining your losers. Pete, what you got?
By the way, if you put me into that defense, I'd put a few forearms in somebody's helmet, and they'd probably give me a fine and throw me out of the game. But that's a whole nother story.
You would have roughed the quarterback.
Look, I have losers. Yeah, well, they call roughing the passer on plays where you look like you just going to throw him to the ground. So, I mean, I might as well get a good one in if I'm going to get a roughing the passer penalty. My losers, I'm going to start with the Jaguars. I mean, you're at home. You're supposed to be a good team. The Texans come in and beat you in your home stadium. That's ridiculous. And one of the major concerns is Trevor Lawrence. I'll be honest, I thought he was going to just ascend to stardom. The last 2 weeks have been really bad. Turned it over 5 times last week in Philadelphia. We called that maybe because it happened because of the rain. It didn't. It happened because he didn't play well. And then on Sunday, didn't throw the ball down the field. 2 picks, 55% completion percentage. He has to be better. And then the Dolphins defense. Whoa-wee, are they bad. Everybody wants to point to no Tua, no Teddy. They're playing a rookie quarterback, but the defense has been terrible this season. They're 25th in total defense, 30 in sacks. You got to get to the quarterback, 29th in scoring defense. It's a bad defense right now. And then speaking of bad defenses, how about the Cleveland Browns? We thought that defense with Myles Garrett, the improved secondary, everybody else, they'd be much better. Well, no, they're not. We saw Eckler run through them every which way imaginable. They're giving up. Think about this. 5.3 per rush. 5.3. They can't stop anybody. It's a terrible defense right now, and you can blame the offense not having Deshaun Watson, this and this and this. They can run the ball on the other side of the ball. They can't stop it on defense.
By the way, you saw the stars there for the Chargers in that against the Browns defense with Justin Herbert, also Austin Eckler, Mike Williams. They had a day. One guy we didn't see, Keenan Allen, he was doing all his work, Pete, on the Twitterverse and had some things to say about those decisions. And, of course, tweeting throughout the game saying, WTF, what are we doing? Of course, talking about that 4th down call and then saying, so glad he missed that because man. And then the last one, of course, maybe a sigh of relief. Good win, boys. And, Pete, I think you have something to say here. We know Keenan pretty well.
Well, look, Keenan's right. I mean, what the heck is his coach doing? It's 4th and 2 in your own end. Late in the game with just over a minute left in the game. All you have to do is punt the ball away. Make them drive the field. They had every right to be angry. Again, I go back to what I said, and I've criticized Staley a bunch about his decisions on 4th down, and you can take the analytics all you want. I know people will say, oh, you don't know the data. Game flow matters. Punt the football. You win. They got lucky. They missed the field goal, but you punt the ball down there. Make Jacoby Brissett drive the length of the field or at least 60, 70 yards to go get a field goal. It's stupidity. Guys, it's not Madden football. I know you grew up with it. I know you like to do that on your game and everything. You sat in your living room and you played, you beat your buddy in Madden football. This isn't what it is. This is real football. Play real football.
Pete has to start believing in analytics because he is so anti-analytics, so old school. You need to get up with the times, Pete. You're just sitting there and rotting in your old age in your house. And besides, you need to get in here on Mondays.
Look, I understand analytics, but I also understand game flow. And I understand there are certain situations where you don't go for it, where you do go for it. And I'll go back to last week. Remember, everybody killed Harbaugh for not going for going for it when he should have kicked the field goal. Well, it was 20-20. It wasn't 40-40. If the game's 40-40, it's 20-20 in the rain. You held the Buffalo Bills to 20 points. So kick your field goal, take the lead, put the pressure on them. There's situations that matter. I understand the numbers. I see you're going to get this back and that back, and if you go for it here, there's a better percentage. But also, there's a real way to play the game, and you have to take into account what's happening on the field on that day.
And analytics are great, but analytics aren't measuring the pulse of your team, the emotions of your team, the weather, the conditions. That's where the coach has to come in and make the right decision, regardless of analytics or not.
All right, Rick Spielman and, of course, Pete Prisco attacking the Madden genre of people that love gaming, I guess, on a Monday. Why not? The conversation continues with the Pick Six Pod. Will Brinson, Ryan Wilson, and John Breach. They recap everything we saw Week 5. The Giants beat Rodgers in London. The Eagles still undefeated. And the Cowboys roll over the Rams in L.A. Download.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.